All right.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 7 of the Unfiltered No BS DJ show. Today, we have a very special guest, Howard Wallach from A to Z Entertainment in Chicago. Howard, how you doing today?
Outstanding. Good to see you guys.
We're happy you could come on with us. I know you were just telling us before we went live that aside from speaking at Mobile Beat, you just got back from a pretty interesting gig yourself.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. I was able to be a fill-in on Crystal Cruise Line. Here I am in Chicago. They gave me a heads up, which is also unusual. Often us fill-ins get last minute notice, but I knew about 6 weeks ahead of time that I was venturing into this assignment. I was flown to Sydney, Australia, and I then spent the next 4 weeks sailing through Asia. Wonderful destinations. Ports of call included Malaysia, the Komodo Islands, Bali, Thailand. It was excellent. Singapore. It was really wonderful. I had very exciting moments on the ship and even more wonderful moments at the ports.
So talk to me, Howard, like you must
That's
work with an
amazing.
agency, right? Let's talk about that whole process, how you get vetted, how, all of a sudden you're on the list to be called. Explain that process a little bit.
Well, every brand, for the most part, relies on agencies, whether it's the people, the chambermaids that do the housekeeping, all the different departments, the medical team, they tend to be subcontracted. There's only a core amount of actual staff hired by the ship. Most of the ships put out calls to agencies saying, we need help. In the ideal world, they wouldn't be training people often. They would have a reliable team. The typical, you've heard this, the typical contract is 3, 4, and 6 months. And that's true with entertainers. That's true with the golf pro, the artist on the ship, the people that make the presentations, the lecturers, everyone you meet, the lounge pianist. All of those people are on short term. I actually met on the ship a comedian who was on for 1 week, does 2 shows and bounces to the next arrangement. But to DJs that want to do this, it often comes up, how could I do this? And it does take a little diligence. It is the long game, but there's almost no one that wants to hear, could I get on the ship for 2 weeks during the deadest of winter? I would love to spend my winters. And it doesn't work like that. They don't even want fill-ins, to tell you the truth. They want guys that can learn their protocol, their way of doing things, and they want guys for long terms. I have met over the years, even before COVID, a couple of people, and I put my name in the hat. They typically want a live mix. They want to see you on the ones and twos. They want to see your personality. And no matter how much a DJ preaches that I know hip hop, I'm a house head, I excel at EDM. At the end of the day, they want a mobile DJ mindset. They want an open format attitude so that when you're on the ship, you can be flexible to move and groove with the demographic of those passengers.
Right.
The number one mindset is, being of service. When you're on a ship, it's not, oh, I already played that. It's, oh, I can't do that. Everything is yes. You have to be sort of ego-free and be a people pleaser with this sort of, hey, these guys are spending hard-earned money for their once-a-year vacation. And the number one asset when being a ship DJ is really having the brain of, I'm a brand ambassador. What is this ship all about, and how can I be a representative of that? So it's not like other deals where you mind getting interrupted and, hey, hold on. You have to be of this, how can I help you? You want to hear Bruno Mars again? Sure.
Yep.
Right.
There are some ships that you don't have creative autonomy I'll leave some of the brands out of the equation because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. Other brands give you that sort of creative freedom and let you roll, to be appropriate. And you're in the lounge, you're on the Lido deck, you're at the pool, you're at a theme night, you're mixing with live music. All those kinds of things play in. But at the end of the day, when you decide you want to be on a ship, you have to have a clear calendar. You have to have a support at home that understands you're going to be gone for a while. And if you're a multi-op, having internet on the ship is imperative so you can check in with your CRM and answer inquiries. I wrestled recently with being present. I have an admin team that was able to field most of the pipeline concerns, but it's always challenging when new calls come in and there's variables. There's deviations from the norm, be it a mitzvah, be it a corporate event. Those are always challenging. So I let everybody know I'm 14 hours ahead of you. If there's a delay in our communication, that's why. And I will do my best in the form of an email to answer your inquiries. And that worked well. But for the most part, there was no downside for me being on a ship and being away from my business. I loved all the challenges put in front of me. I really bonded with the different staff and team that I met. And of course, enjoying the one-on-ones I had with passengers.
So help me understand like the logistics of it. Like, do you work a 2-hour shift for the day and then you're done to go mac on the waitresses for the rest of the day? Like, what's the format?
Sure. They give you in advance. They give you, before you even get on the ship, there are some questions about compatibility. Are you a Serato DJ? Will there be a wireless microphone? Are you comfortable working with video? Can you provide video content, i.e. music videos, logos, shout outs? When I got on the ship, there was a small onboarding for their lighting system at the nightclub. Okay. But invariably, there is a tech team. We're all used to getting there 90 minutes before, sound checking, cable management. Right. None of that. You show up 5 to 7 minutes before a shift. Those shifts could be anywhere from 30 minutes to 90 minutes. At night in the nightclub, they tend to say 10 p.m. until late. And there is a food and beverage manager who makes the final decision about what time to end the evening. They have very sophisticated logistics. They know where the people are at any given time. So if the show ends at 10 p.m., they expect you to be busy from 10 to midnight. If there's no action in the smokers lounge or the piano lounge or other bars, they know that you're not going till 3 in the morning. On the other hand, if it's a full capacity ship and there's a lot of people under 40, it might be a later night. There are variables, and believe me when I tell you, each brand is very dialed into how and where their people are moving and grooving. The DJs may be asked, sometimes there's only a single DJ. That was my case just now. And sometimes there's 2 or 3. There are theme nights. Again, there are times when you accompany live music, and there's this rumor that you have to do things like babysit and do other jobs. It's not my experience. I have never had to run a camp. On one ship, I was also what they call an activities host, which is what you think it is. It's running, the ping pong tournament, the bags tournament, helping with karaoke, trivia nights, bingo. That's activity hosting. And if you're that kind of personality, there are those opportunities available to you. When you're a DJ, oftentimes you are doing shout outs. Congratulations on your anniversary. Happy birthday. Have a great time in Singapore tomorrow. That kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah. So when the call comes in from the agency, and you find out then which cruise line it is, it could be any of the major brands?
Yeah, very typically. I now have my personal experience is with MSC. They are an Italian company that came to the States only in the last, I think, 8 years, and Celebrity. And this most recent one was with Crystal. there are many other brands, from Princess to Royal Caribbean to Carnival. I mean, it's just an infinite amount. Holland of America. There are so many, Norwegian, and they all have different protocol. Any DJ that was interested in being a part of a particular line would want to do all their diligence and, of course, be persistent, have a ready-to-go resume, have a ready-to-go video, and understand that your personality, your professional demeanor goes a long way. They are not overly interested in, that you do EDM and house music. Really, the typical wedding DJ would be a wonderful toolbox for a cruise ship.
Very nice. Yeah. I have been on several Carnival cruises, and not to throw the guys under the bus, typically I'm a little disappointed in the DJ. As a DJ myself, I'll be out, I'm like, oh, he's not mixing, or he's playing entire songs to the very end. And, like sometimes there just doesn't seem to be a lot of effort at times. But I have gone on other Carnival ships where the DJ is really good. And then we were just on a Royal ship that had a name DJ that was on there, and he was great. So
sometimes, not to defend anybody, but I think the guys that do this for long, long stretches, they get into a rinse, cycle, repeat, and they may be phoning it in on occasion. Sadly, you've got first-time passengers who are looking for every experience to be an 11. And when a fellow DJ sees someone phoning it in, it's underwhelming. The upside is that all of these brands, all of them, have feedback. They have the ability for comment cards and reviews. I'm blessed, on the experiences that I've had, not only to my face, but on the reviews, they've said things like, I've never met the DJ on a ship. Here on your ship, we not only met the DJ, we bonded with him. We're now Facebook friends with him. We hope he'll be on our next ship. Well, that goes a long way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I did feel for some of the guys, you get out on the Lido deck and, it's noon, and now all of a sudden there's a DJ out there, and then you'll see the same DJ at 2:00 in the morning sometimes in the club. And it's like, man, that's got to be a long day. And a lot of songs, did I play that already? Maybe it doesn't matter.
I learned about time management. I really had to be methodical. This is when I'm going to go check my emails. This is when I'm going to prep my crates for the theme party. This is when I'm going to go. Another thing that no one talks about, I don't know how much time we want to spend on about the ships, but I found myself, this is me, if I were offering advice to someone, I am very cognitive, very intentional about when I leave my stateroom, and I didn't stay below deck. I was treated like a passenger. I had the rights where I could go to the spa. I could go to the health club. I was in the dining room. When I left my room, I was dapper. I did not leave in sandals and shorts and tank tops and baseball caps. I was GQing every time I left, and I made it a point to reach out and connect with individual passengers. Hey, let me take your picture. Hey, where are you guys from? Hey, tell me about what you did on land today. And I would make these really authentic connections, and that bonding would later turn into them specifically coming to see my set. Hey, I'm doing a pre-dinner set at the Cove. Hey, come see me. And they would go, yeah, top dog, we want to see you.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's great.
Terry, you have any more questions?
Yeah, I don't want you to divulge all the secrets. But like, what can a DJ expect for pay? I know that all the incidentals are covered and everything else. And, I've heard that
I want to make a blanket statement. If you got a contract, and let's call that $1,000 a week, your typical mobile DJ would say, oh my God, that is so far less than what I get paid for an event on a Saturday, right? It's simply not the way to look at it. If it's about the finances, I would discourage it, because you will feel you're so used to the compensation we get for the planning, the prep, and the performance. And it's usually tied to related labor and trucking. We put a package together and you charge for a special event. It is true that all your meals are taken care of. Sometimes your laundry, sometimes your internet, there are perks that are wildly awesome that it feeds my soul. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but holy smoke. I was at the Komodo Islands, you know,
Right.
in Kuala Lumpur. I mean, in my wildest dreams, you know, it's and not only that, but I'm treated with such regard. You know, I felt like a rock star. You know, they interviewed me on the television. They've got a TV show they do every morning. I'm featured in the newspaper that goes out every morning to every cabin. I felt like this was a fit for me. I can't say that it is so financially rewarding, everybody should do it. In fact, no. If you want to put money in your pocketbook, stay home, market the hell out of your mobile business, and continue to knock it out of the park. This is if you have a well-oiled machine or your parameters allow you to get away, and this feeds your soul. That's if you like traveling, this is a great fit. But I wouldn't do it. Say this is for the money.
Okay. So the minimum commitment would be like 3 months. Is that what a DJ that wants to apply for this can expect?
95% of the time, it's 3, 4, and 6 months. As a fill-in, I might be asked for 3 to 6 weeks. There's always a variable. The toughest part is getting last-minute calls. When they call you on Thursday and say, we'd like to fly you to Cancun this Saturday, and we need you to start, you know, you're live at 11 a.m. on Sunday. Those are the tough ones, because who doesn't have a pipeline to contend with? There's so many variables. I have been able to make some chess moves, and I've been able to say yes. The truth is, when the world opened up, I said no more than I said yes, because, you know, we were experiencing all that rush of special events and milestones again. But there's a good balance. I'm able to work it out right now.
And I'm sure, just like with any client, when you say no, you feel like you're going to get knocked down a notch on their call list, right? I mean, that's how I feel. I hate saying no to clients, but, you know, sometimes it works,
100%.
sometimes it doesn't.
100%. You hope that in any of these environments, whatever you're doing, that people really believe in you, your brand, what you stand for, so that they understand, maybe if I give him more notice, we'll be able to work with him. Take a typical park district or school. I always encourage them, don't book a onesie. Book us for the whole calendar.
Right.
You know you've got events coming up. Plan your calendar ahead of time. Call me with 3, 4, 5 dates. Let's proactively get on the calendar so you're not in this rush and settling for your third or fourth choice because that Friday is busy, that Saturday is gone.
Right. Understood. All right. Great. Do you have any more questions on that, Brandon?
No, I don't think so. That's very good.
It's very intriguing. You know, I've never been on a cruise as a passenger, so the whole thing. Of course, I'm dreaming of girls in Thailand and Bali and things like that.
No,
worshiping the DJ.
You know, and I don't want to burst your bubble, but there are rules in place about commiserating with passengers and the folks that are commiserating behind the scenes. It's pretty low key.
Yeah.
I have a happy relationship at home. I'm not looking to do that kind of thing, but just exploring and being a part of, you know, a tourist destination and, you know, looking between things and checking things out it's a wonderful experience. If you get a chance to be on a cruise ship, you will be taken care of and you get to indulge. It is everything. The hospitality is extra. Everything is with 3 exclamation points.
Great. Well, I guess I'm going to put it on my list then.
In April, I'm going to be on. In April, I'm going to be on Virgin Voyages, so I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a good time. But good. I'm not DJing the cruise. I'm just going to be there, I'll be judging the DJs as usual.
All right, so let's move on to the Mitzvah stuff. So, Howard, you're obviously a guy that's very well versed in that. My company, we actually have a wonderful young lady that's Jewish, and she does the Jewish events that we get, but we don't market towards them. And it's always something that I felt inadequate. Like I'm not Jewish. I don't understand the culture of the mitzvahs that much. So it was always like one of those things where I didn't want to insert myself in a situation where I couldn't be very good at it. So what do you suggest for companies that either don't do a lot of mitzvahs or don't have Jewish people on their staff? What are your thoughts there?
Well, let me take a step back and say that every business draws lines and boundaries about what they're willing to accept. You see online all the time. Hey, I got my first quinceanera coming up. Hey, I'm doing my first high school event. What should I not play? You're always taking on new challenges. And like any demographic, an Indian wedding, it doesn't make a difference. There are expectations and goals. And this is true of any event. The difference is that I'm blessed that I'm part of a circuit. When people are calling for mitzvahs, they're not yellow paging.
Right.
They're looking for a smaller group of known, sure things. And so when they call an entity like my group, there's this notion that we are seasoned, we are savvy, and we are a solution. I will tell you, whether it's corporate or mitzvah or anything, there is no one on the other side of the phone, no one that wants to be embarrassed or to be felt vulnerable. They all want to know that the entities, the vendors they're hiring are going to advocate for them and crush it. It might mean a lot of excellent communication in advance. It might be ideating and giving them, some cool, wonderful resources. At the end of the day, I'm going to tell you something. You literally do not have to be Jewish to do a mitzvah. In Chicago, 90% or higher are not Jewish. The folks that are doing this are very gregarious, loud personalities, type A, vivacious, lighting up a room personalities. Mitzvahs are unique because we divide them up into MC, DJ, interactive dancers, and furthermore, production, so that the talent arrives and benefits from all of the logistics that are laid out in front of them. We put out this wonderful gear, which might include light up staging. It might include curtain and drape. It might include video screens, a robust sound system, DMX lighting. That gear is received by the talent. The talent walks in. The MC is like the quarterback of the team and typically has had the most experience in communication with the family. There's a pre-event powwow before we go live. There is a absolute, like a wedding, a known timetable. There is a run of show, an agenda that is in place, pronunciations, song requests. It's all dialed in advance. The biggest characteristic of bar mitzvahs is the lack of sitting. There's very little downtime. When there's a buffet, we are still programming. The adults are eating, the kids are dancing, and vice versa. These are very, very high octane and interactive shows. No, it's not for everybody. But if you are a robust personality, and let's say you're going to be the DJ and the MC, can you do a mitzvah? Of course you can. You would learn from the family what their priorities are. If you're hearing things like, we're going to have 50, 70, 90 kids, it would be very difficult for any DJ behind a table to manage that many kids. You're competing with cell phones, shorter and shorter attention spans. So the secret sauce is having like these camp counselor type personalities, or as I call them, difference makers. Where do you find dancers? They're out there. There are personalities, believe it or not. You might find a waitress, someone at the Gap selling you clothing. When you meet a personality that understands hospitality and is going above and beyond, that's the kind of person you might say to them, do you dance? Do you want to make extra money on the weekends? We have a little bit of a process. We have rehearsals, which is really more about conditioning. We do these things. How do I explain it? It's almost like a Zumba class. So when people are at our parties, we're encouraging them to come up to the dance floor and follow us, do our moves, do these things that we're doing on stage. And some of it's silly and some of it is feels like Zumba where they're following. You might even have a pushback. We don't want following. Our people want to dance on their own. Well, our dancers are doing everything, changing room lighting, passing out prizes, passing out giveaways, telling the photographer what's coming up next. Hey, if you stand right over there, you'll get a great shot, right? There's all of this. Hey, DJ, you're too loud. They're doing, hey, DJ, they don't want to hear Taylor Swift anymore. That's all of this happens in real time as an ensemble. The MC, the DJ, and the dancers working cohesively together with the other vendors. That's the sauce. Terry, I would say to you, you could do bar mitzvahs. I just wouldn't encourage you to do it by yourself.
Yeah, understood.
Awful lot to manage. I'll give you a silly example. We go to show a video montage. It's this 12-minute highlight reel of the little boy or the little girl growing up, and it's got cousins, and it's got summer camp and vacations and Halloween, all these pictures in a 12-minute video. When they go to watch it, there might be a centerpiece in the way. Our team knows to move those centerpieces, not because we were asked to, but because we know how important the montage is to the family, and we proactively assess. They can't see the screens because there's this big 4-foot thing in the way. That's an example of, when you bring a team together and you talk week after week, at least for us, after every event, just so you know, Brandon, every event, the team is asked to fill out a post-event evaluation. What could have been better? What went right? Right? And in answering some of the most basic questions, it opens up conversation and dialogue. And the truth is, when these dancers feel like they're being heard and they're adding value, they become more loyal. They recognize this isn't a job like bagging groceries. I'm here and I'm making a difference. My involvement at this mitzvah is making an impact. This little kid is a cousin and doesn't know all the other little kids. Let's get him involved, holding his hands and bopping along with him. And hey, kid, here's a prize. Well, that mom is gaga. She's, oh my God, the dancer knew my kid didn't know anybody, made them feel like they were special. Let's get their card. Let's call him in 4 years for our bar mitzvah. It snowballs. Mitzvahs are unlike weddings. Think about the weddings you do. You might knock it out of the park. Are you doing the 5 women who stood up and are the bridesmaids' weddings also? Probably not. Mitzvahs are very different. You get into a cycle. You get into that family. You get into that neighborhood. You get into that synagogue, and all of a sudden, you're the guy.
Right.
And they're booked 8 to 14 months out, sometimes 20 months out.
Yeah.
That brings a question to mind for me. We have done a few mitzvahs in the past, and I know sometimes when I get a phone call, let's say I do my due diligence, I go and I have a team ready. Let's say I fly to Chicago and I hang out with Howard at a mitzvah and I learn I kind of get a feel for what we're doing and I'm fully trained, I'm ready to go. When the phone rings, one thing I've experienced is people will say, have you done a lot of bar mitzvahs? And then I would say, even if I say, yeah, or, we've done a few, they will literally ask me like, well, whose have you done? They know, a lot of people know each other, whether it's from the same synagogue or whatever. How would you, handle that?
You could argue that it's a catch-22, right? It's like with the cruise ships. How can you do it if you haven't done it? How does a new person get in? I will tell you, at the level, and this is just me guessing, at the level at which they're calling you, they're saying, this guy isn't in the circuit, but I heard he's good. I want to ask for this Brandon guy. Brandon, I'm just curious, are you comfortable doing a bar mitzvah where we've got kids and adults? Could you help us with that bar mitzvah party? You could be as transparent as you want and say, look, if you break it down for me and explain what you want to happen at this party, I am more than capable of doing this for you. For example, there's not that many Jewish things that happen. There might be a blessing, like what do you do at a wedding? A grace before the meal? Well, at a bar mitzvah, it might be a blessing over the wine, a blessing over the bread. We have words. The kiddush and the hamotzi. That's not hard to remember. That's it. No. Sometimes for more religious families, about 3 out of 100 do a post meal and after prayer. It's called Havdalah. The only thing that is consistent at most of the parties we do is the notion of leading a hora. And I could walk through any of your guests, any of your watchers of this video. If someone is insecure about leading a hora dance, I am more than happy to give that. I'm not charging for my time. I'm at a part in my career where I'm paying it forward. I would like my legacy to be that I was an encourager. So if you have any listeners, any viewers that want help leading a hora, I'm an appointment away. Get me on Messenger, get me on Zoom, and I will talk you through it. It is not difficult. It should not be something that intimidates you or a reason why you say no. Honestly, Terry, if you're not doing mitzvahs, you're leaving money on the table. I don't want to be cliche, but I mentioned to Brandon offline, these mitzvahs, the grandiose expectations, the goals, the detail, the advocacy, the communication has set me up for success in every other arena. By the time I end up doing a corporate event, they cannot believe they thought they were interviewing me, and I'm interviewing them because I'm sort of programmed to be that guy, to be their favorite vendor, to be the one that cares about their event as much as they do. And it starts from the bar mitzvahs for me, my path.
Well, that's one of the things we love about you, Howard. I guess what my question was based on, like, respect. I didn't grow up with many Jewish friends. I went to a Catholic school when I was younger, so it just wasn't in my wheelhouse. So I guess maybe unfairly in the back of my mind, I'm saying this is a very important family event that I'm just ignorant to, and I don't want to go and take a gig where I can't make it successful for them, you know? So, but I think
I'm on a interview. I'll call you back.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, so that's where it was. It was just one of those things, almost like the first time we did a wedding, right? At least we could have a DJ that had done weddings and showed us back in the day. I didn't have any mentors for that, so I've just always shied away. I've done some, and I've used all the same customer service skills that we do with weddings or any other client, but I guess I just never felt really comfortable about where everything was going. And to me, I would rather just pull up the e-brake and step back and refer other professionals, knowing that they're going to knock it out of the park. Versus,
right. I think it's like anything else. When you hear what the ask is, you are either a fit for them or you are not. I respect that you respect what it is, but I don't know the last time you did a high school event, but that inertia, that energy, that the nonstop vibe is truly what we're doing. The illusion is there are lots of games that we're stopping the action and playing games with kids. That happens some of the time, but most of the parties, at least the ones that we're involved with, I'm telling you, they're so high energy. It's almost a rush. You know, we're propelling the party forward with really good. And when our dancers are on stage and doing their shenanigans and leading, it's magnetic. You're just drawn into, and people are like, oh my God, this is so, they're laughing and watching, and people are acting silly when I'm putting a fedora on them, giving them a glow light and all this stuff that they do. There's levity, and it's what the opposite of a wedding where there's a lot of sitting and catching up with guests, and it's got to be appropriate volume. These are louder and these are high paced.
Right. So let me ask you from a business perspective, Howard, do you have what I'm assuming similar to wedding packages? Do you have different levels of mitzvah packages that your clients can pick from, or is it a la carte? Like, how do you boil it down to what they need?
This answer may surprise you. It may not. We have a limited inventory of Saturday nights, right? Knowing that, I'm going to say to them, we have a base package. There's no options for less than that. I will hear, do we have to have dancers? Do we have to have? This is our recipe for success. So we have a base price point. Everything after them, I'm asking them questions. Are you going to show video? Would you like us to provide the streams? Right. Do you want to have alternative entertainment? Would you like pop-up shots? Do you want a photo booth? Would it be appropriate for your theme to have uplighting? All those typical things that you might ask of a wedding. What are you comfortable adding on? Some people don't want to get involved in cotton candy machines.
Yep.
Some people don't want to do this. But if whatever degree of things you're willing to take on, you build the package based on a base. This is what it costs for us to go out for your party. And I have other things I can offer you based on the answers you're giving me that I can offer. So no, the days are over for this bald DJ. I no longer say gold, bronze, silver, 3-star, 4-star, 5. I don't have names. This is our package. It's our base, our starting point. And based on what your ask is, I may be able to provide you some comfort level and solutions for these other things. Right. No, I don't have dancing elephants. But you know what? If you want, I can bring in a hip hop troupe, right. Or if you want, I can. So it always depends. Isn't it nice when you have a client that asks you, "Are you available?" is the first question, not "How much are you?"
Yes, understood.
I have found this to be true over the years as how I've promoted A to Z entertainment out there, and the word on the street. Call these guys; they know what they're doing. Is more of the MO than they're the best deal in town.
Right. Yeah, I run my business the same way. So just to be clear, you include dancers in your base package. Is that your vision there? I think that makes sense.
We are a staff of 4. That's the base for a mitzvah. Mitzvahs might be a luncheon on a Saturday, an evening on a Saturday, and then a Sunday afternoon or a Sunday night. Very rarely are they on Fridays, but there's 4 possibilities. When a client calls, is it a Saturday or a Sunday? Is it afternoon or evening?
Right. That's very helpful.
I hope that's helpful. This is one man. I'm one chef. If you talk to enough bar mitzvah providers, you'll hear deviations to what I'm saying.
No, and I appreciate that insight. It helps me mentally clarify things a little bit more, and I think that's something now, even after this quick conversation, that at least I could feel more confident about putting together the whole package. Again, it's I don't want to say a fear, but I respect the events, that it's a big family event, and it's just
Terry, you are more than capable of crushing it. You will, if you wrap your brain around it with all your experience, all that you've seen, all that you've tackled. This is one more roll up your sleeves, knock it out of the park event. And if you make that family happy, you ask them for a review. You might ask them for a video highlight. You will crush it.
Okay. Well, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that very much. And we're lucky to have you on here today. Taking notes. So that's, if you see my head down, that's what I'm doing. I'm taking notes.
Great.
Any other questions?
Yeah,
Brandon,
I agree. I was
about
taking
the Mitzvah circuit?
I want to say, again, I'm not gonna. I'm not selling a seminar. I don't have a book yet. If someone is legit wanting some guidance, some insights that would help them with their first or their earlier in their mitzvah world, I am an open book, and I am absolutely willing to help anybody. So I'm sure you'll put my contact information out there. I'm another guy, that's willing to cheer you on.
Well, you know what's really popular right now, Howard, and this may be beneficial to you, is these little mini, let's call them learn pods for the most part. A lot of guys that are gurus like yourself are putting together small groups of 5-10 people.
Mastermind.
Yeah. There's all different versions. I just joined one with Dave that Brandon turned me on to a couple of weeks ago, just about hiring new DJs. I mean, I think I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, the blueprint.
For short money, I'm in this little pod that over 4 weeks, it's going to graduate me into a higher state of mind of what I need to do to hire DJs. Maybe you could do something like that for, DJs that want to get into mitzvahs, because.
Yeah, I'm open to all the different paths. I'm only insecure about overcommitting myself. Yeah. But other than that, I get it. And let me say something to, again, everybody that's watching this. You're looking at some seasoned guys on this particular call, and it should be a big, big wake up that here we are, in the 6th, 7th inning of our career, and we're still learning. We're still open-minded. We are still a work in progress. All three of us. The problem is when DJs get in their own way, they become know-it-alls, and they're not open to other perspectives. You'll notice it's almost sad. I just came back from MEX in Vegas. So many of the attendees are north of 40. And sadly, the majority of mobile DJs, entertainers, are under 40. But they don't come for the education. They don't come for the networking. And it's a shame that it takes a more mature personality to appreciate that sense of, how can I get better? I'm not done. I want to sponge it all in. And if there's mentors and guides out there, of course I want that. Right. We know this, and not enough DJs do.
I appreciate that. I mean, I've confessed on past podcasts here that there was a time where I probably had that bad attitude of that I knew it all. You know, I mean, I didn't drink water till I was 30 years old, for God's sake. I mean, it just, I think that as you get older, you become more mature. And I still have the thirst for learning. You know, I've got a company I'm proud of that hopefully I get to pass on to my sons. And I've learned that as soon as you think you know it all, you're going downhill.
You know, remember this: never be the smartest person in the room.
Great.
Don't be that guy.
Right.
All right.
Well, hey, Howard, thanks for coming on today. I think we're right up to just about our 45 minutes. I think this is a good stopping point. Please don't go anywhere. I want to get some information for you when we stop recording. Terry, thanks for being here again this week. I'm looking forward to continuing this.
Yeah, I mean, we're having a great time.
If anybody's out there
Brandon,
watching,
we're lucky to have some of these, I want to call them the OGs of the DJ world that are out here. And, you know, this is the beautiful thing about this podcast is that we grab people from all over the country and maybe internationally at some point, and we just kick it and get different opinions, and we learn something. And, you know, sometimes you can grab those nuggets and twist them and turn them and make them your own. So that's what I learned here today.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I'm flattered to have been a part of this. Thank you for including me.
All right, Howard.
Awesome.
Talk soon. Thanks so much.
All the people out there watching, please give us a like, follow, all that good stuff. Thanks.